let go of your desires. On the surface, the idea of letting go seems to fly in the face of desiring something. But if we really dissect the idea, it isn't as complicated or contradictory as it seems. The importance of letting go can be better understood if we understand dichotomies and the law of polarity from a broader perspective. So bear with me as I explain it through some distant analogies. Light and dark cannot exist without one another, as they are essentially the opposing faces of the same attribute. Without darkness, light itself cannot be perceived, as it serves as the threshold relative to which luminosity is measured. But more importantly, light and dark coexist in the same place. One thinks of light as the absence of darkness. But what we call light in physical reality is a mixture of the two extremes of light and dark, in varying quantities. If you darkened your room right now, there would still be some light, despite the fact that it would be a lot less than, say, if you were to switch on the light bulb. But none of those two are representative of the archetype of what we mean by light or dark in their absolute sense. What I'm trying to say is that there is some light in the darkest of places, and some darkness in the most well-lit places. Therefore, when it comes to letting go, the question we should ask is not whether we should let go, but rather what is truly optimum for us. The key word here is optimum. We must have heard the saying less is more at some point, which tells us that there is a sweet spot for everything. When it comes to explaining this, the best example I can think of is my workout routine. Over the years, I've worked out anywhere from 1 day a week to 6 days a week at the gym. On the surface, it would seem that the most results you can get is from 6 days a week, because there are simply more sessions. But the actual answer is 3 days a week. This is because a good physique isn't just about more workout sessions, but it is also about more recovery. Working out 6 days a week also means 1 day a week of rest, whereas 3 days of working out means a total of 4 rest days. But recovery and exercise are kind of contradictory to one another in some sense. Like, working out requires effort, whereas rest is simply rest. But from a larger perspective, rest is also a different kind of work that is as important as working out. These two polar opposites reinforce one another instead of cancelling each other out. It's this dance between the two opposites where the real magic happens. So, coming back to our topic at hand, letting go is the polar inverse of desire. I am deliberately avoiding the term opposite as it might suggest something that cancels each other out. You would think that the more intense the desire, the faster you would get something. But that isn't correct, as we might have observed from different examples and success stories spread across the internet. You would think affirming 1,000 times as opposed to 500 times would speed up the process of manifestation. The universe doesn't work that way. I personally believe that there is always a sweet spot for every one of us. In trading, there is this idea that one should invest only as much as one is willing to lose. What this means is that being too invested in one thing hampers the larger experience of life. So, if you are really obsessed with techniques and trying to accomplish a lot in a single day, you may become frustrated and desperately pleading for it because you have invested so much time in it. More importantly, any additional time you spend on affirming over what's optimum isn't going to speed up the process. A 10-minute process done daily compounds way faster than doing 1 hour of work occasionally. The best part is that you can do those 10 minutes even on days when you don't feel like doing those practices, whereas relying on 1 hour on a single day would be a hit or miss approach that you couldn't afford to lose. If you are used to affirming for hours, reducing it to 10 minutes will seem impossible, as you will feel guilty for not trying hard enough. You are leaving so much time that could have been better utilized to manifest faster. Having to try real hard in order to achieve something is a limiting umbrella belief. Letting go is not an easy process and requires maturity on our part, while keeping in mind that we get what we already have. Therefore, this idea of wanting something too much can only come when we acknowledge its absence too much. I said, too much. It isn't wrong to notice that it isn't there, as long as it doesn't affect us negatively. You know that once you have the desire, you will not spend every waking minute adoring it. However, you would travel to a different location where the object of your desire would not be present in your immediate vicinity. But in those moments, you wouldn't be disappointed just because the object of your desire isn't in your immediate vicinity. If you could simply be aware of your desire in this manner, you would be taking the first step towards letting go. The second step is actually reducing the importance of your desire relative to I amness, which is easier said than done. You can do so by raising your self-concept whereby you know that you deserve the manifestations. Alternatively, over time, you can become less and less fascinated by the desire and start observing it as something a lot more ordinary. Do not worry. This isn't you not wanting the desire, but embodying the subtle feeling of having achieved your desire, the feeling of which isn't always super exciting, but oftentimes a feeling of serenity. Neville calls this the state of Sabbath, which is the day of rest in the Bible. And in this context, one of the most common questions is whether clients become paranoid of not wanting something so badly anymore. It's like this conditioning that desiring and manifesting are linearly proportionate has been deeply ingrained. Therefore, the idea of letting go is underrated and often requires very nuanced and deep discussions. It is a scary and hopeless topic, to say the very least, because a part of us gets freaked out at even reading the phrase letting go. I hope the idea has been cleared. If you've liked the video, don't forget to press the like button and subscribe.